podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Black Cinema Experience podcast. I'm your girl, JB.
And I'm Cameron.
And this week we're back with a super exciting episode. We watched Queen and Slim. No, this movie is not new to us. It's not new to you. It came out back in 2019, but it finally made its premiere to Netflix. So it's finally time for us to talk about it with the regular consumer, our fan base.
Absolutely.
Not just the black, not just the white, but everybody. We want to talk about it in this Black History Month. So why not do a Black History Bonnie and Clyde story with Queen and Slim?
Absolutely.
Cameron,
absolutely.
You watched this movie. We watched it again.
We did. Multiple times.
Now we really know how we feel about this movie. Cameron, who's in this movie that you got excited to see?
Well, obviously, Daniel Kaluuya. So, obviously, he's been in a couple of movies we've reviewed already.
Yeah, like Get Out.
And Joni Turner-Smith, who's a beautiful, just gorgeous woman. Just gorgeous.
A stallion of a woman, I would say.
So many different people. Like, fun fact is Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. If you know, you know. I guess he's the bassist. Plays in the movie. See, I know you.
Continue on. Name them off. What did you want from me?
No. I'm just saying. That's what I'm out there. Bokeem Woodbine. He always plays like Unc or head
he's the pimp.
Yeah,
he's the pimp uncle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
boy, he puts on a stellar performance this time. And
absolutely.
I mean, it's not like they give him so many lines, but every single line that he delivers, he really delivers. So I do actually enjoy his presence and things.
I can say that about a lot of people in this movie. I think that it was like a lot of really great acting. But this movie is just, I feel like it's so necessary to see, even though it's like a hard watch for me. Because especially now that I know what's going on. But it was really hard watching it for the first time. And my heart is like racing because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. But as you watch it again, you're kind of like, dang. Like you kind of see, like you said, you saw the foreshadowing in some parts and stuff. So
yeah.
It's a really good film.
It definitely is hard to see. The first time I watched it, I knew I was not going to watch it again. I knew I was like, damn, this movie was too deep and it was too sad. I don't ever want to see this movie again. The story was too good. But here we were. And I wanted to talk about it mostly because of the ending, because people really did have, at the time in 2019, there was a lot of controversy around, did he do the right thing or not? Like he turned them in, cashed out. Like, how messed up is that? Like, would you have done it? And that was, like, a conversation piece. So, just out of curiosity, right? You have these two people who you don't know, who you know definitely killed a cop, and you have access to them. You can turn them in, or you can set them free. What would you do? And the prize, let's just say, because $100,000 in 2019 is not $100,000. Let's just say that the amount of money is $1 million. It's $1 million. You turn them in, you get $1 million.
I don't want to sound like shady, but I feel like I would really have to examine the situation because it was like some actual criminals, like they escaped this insane asylum and like killed a cop is different, but like judging about what happened, I would like to think I'll be noble enough like not to turn them in, like to help them.
I know. Because you could go down in history as the nigga with $1 million, but you got that dirty blood.
like you sold us out.
Or you could help them finish the mission. But what if you take them to the land, help them finish the mission, but the pilot called it in already? Yeah. Like, what if someone else is dirty in the mix, and they were already going to go to jail, but you can make the call first? See? It's too many factors.
So you need to watch Mr. Beast games, because you'll be good on there. But we'll talk about that later. But you'll be good.
It's not that I would sell them out. I'm just considering all the possible options.
I do see where you're coming from. I mean, that's the thing I feel like that she was trying to show, in the movie, as far as like, there's always, everybody can be in support of you up to that point. All it takes is one person to sell you out and for everybody's work, everybody's progress to be like forfeited.
Exactly. And they were really fighting a war, and they were really getting through the steps. I mean, most movies will give you 3 hard obstacles. It was like they had 5.
It was
the uncle's house, the white people's house, like the auto mechanic, the car breaking down.
It was gas station, like
all of these obstacles that just kept piling up, and you usually don't see that many. With movies, there's usually 3 hard ones, and we get to where we gotta go. This was like, dang, every single turn was an obstacle. So let's talk about a couple of things in this movie that I find to be really interesting. The dynamic of the pairing. right? I thought this was interesting when I first watched the movie. We got Dan Clue, which is essentially like a regular Joe type guy. You know, he doesn't say anything outstanding. He doesn't appear to be overly smart. He's just kind of like there and happy to be there. You know, very, very plain and simple. Yeah. And then you have Jodie, who plays Queen. And she is very prissy. She knows what she wants. Mm-hmm. She has expectations. She has standards, right? She obviously gets her money. When you see them first come on the screen, and you see them at this dining table, like, what are your thoughts?
Mixed match. Yeah. Like, totally.
It don't feel right. Yeah. But by the end of the movie, how do you feel?
I feel like you do. You as you see their journey, you do see the sense that they were actually right for each other. And I don't know if, like, the movie's trying to say that, like, certain circumstances can make anybody your partner, like, depending on how they, like, you know, handle the situation, or they were just like, you know, it's just random, you know, and, like, this is being black, like, we always have each other, just, like, at some point, I feel like when you're in that situation and you're black, you just automatically just click, like, you know, or, like, come to each other's aid. But I'm divided between the two. Like, I don't know if it's, like, a true love story, like, you know, or if it's, like, just, like, black people just have to
have each other's back
and trauma bond.
And I think a part of that really, that question, it comes down to, like, black love is the strongest love. Mm-hmm. You know, you have these two basically opposite ends of the coin, completely different in every single way, and then they are still both black at the end of the day. They both have to face this black ass obstacle with this racist ass cop and try to make it out alive. And in that moment, these two people who are completely different can join forces and be on the same side of, we can be completely different and see that this is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that them being so different, so vastly different in the beginning, really is speaking volumes to the closeness that even as complete different people, black people can experience that same oneness when it comes down to discrimination, racism, you know, being scared of the cops, you know, not knowing your rights, not knowing where you stand, all that stuff. I think it's just one of those things that really, I feel like certain movies and certain writers, you know, Lena Waithe. I feel like she does a great job with relationship dynamics by focusing on the differences. She highlights the differences between two characters to show you even more their closeness. Yeah. Like, the more she shows you how different they are, but how they can bond, is her way of showing you, like, look how intimate and close these two people who are completely different can be. Look at the space they found for each other. And I just like a Lena Waithe thing. She just always be doing that in her stories.
Well, it's good writing. It's like, you know,
it's great
to tell such a romantic story, like, despite all this, you know, outward oppression. It's like it takes delicate writing, very, very, very intentional writing as well. So I definitely agree with you on that aspect, because again, when you see the first season movie, you think, like, how can these two even be interested in each other, you know?
Right. And she obviously not interested in him. She literally said, I'm out on a date with you because I felt bad for you.
I mean, people say that, but they really, you know, they be trying to...
Well, he did look kind of pathetic. I don't know.
Yeah, he looked like the average Joe.
Like, as, like, the type of girl that she was, like, portraying to be, white turtleneck, lawyer, long braids, that says a lot. Like, for a black girl, long braids, nails done, all that stuff, you got money. You got time, you have a schedule, your routine, like, to get your braids done and keep your braids nice, and to have a turtleneck that's white, like, to be rocking all white, that's godly, like, you clean. You know what I mean? And then for her, like, her whole attitude in the diner was like, man, why do you come here? And he said, because it's black owned. And that ended the conversation. Because even in that moment, it was like, yeah, I'm a bougie black girl, but I do understand putting the black dollar into the black household, so I'm going to be quiet. She was,
But also, how do you feel, like, her having, like, such a kind of traumatic backstory, but being successful and being, like, you know, like, more in charge, and, you know, Slim having, like, a really strong family unit, like, on, like, his mom, dad, you know, family, and then being just, like, a regular guy.
Like, what is the question?
How do I feel about... Like, how do you feel about the matchup? Like, do you feel it makes sense? Because, again, she's, like, the one put together and, like, you know, like, more astute, but she has, like, you know, traumatic background, and him having a strong family background, you know, his dad's there, his mother, you know, strong black family, he's, like, clueless. I
do feel like that is, like, more common and reflective of what we actually see. Women who are hyper independent, they focus on themselves, having their life together, having their perfect job, having their house together, having their own everything. Women, black women specifically, are hyper independent. Black men, I'm not saying all of them, but I am saying that they are supported in ways that black women are not. That does not mean that all black men are being coddled and are babies. That just means that when it comes down to a black woman is expected to go out and get it for herself, and then the world says, well, that's what you should have. And a black man, he literally gets help from the black woman, whether it be his girl. Like, his mama will be like, your girlfriend should help you with that. The girlfriend will be like, your mama should help you with that. You know, it's like the black man is getting support. So for him to be completely dependent on his family structure, so much so where he almost jeopardized their location multiple times because he just had to call his family. I gotta call my family. Sir, focus, stay on the plan. Like, everything she did helped move them forward. Everything he did helped push them back. It's like, stop being a hindrance and just get on board. So like, when it comes down to like showing us that relationship with her being super independent and him being dependent completely, it is very truistic of what we see of like society with, like, I hate to say it, but like, yeah, like with our men, like I do feel like black men are often coddled by their families. And black women are often pushed out at a very young age and told, you better figure it out. And it's true. So watching that dynamic, it was nothing new to me.
It's funny.
It felt like almost every day I've been on.
But the way I liked it, the way that was kind of like twisted a little bit that Lena did was because, like, even though, you know, they were to be like regular, like they're regularly portrayed like usually in society, you still see like how she's able to be like the more like, I won't say bossy, but she was like able to take charge more. As usually in these cases, like it's usually the man that's like the one stepping up, like, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this to get away from police. But it was like it was continuously her coming up with the plan and her like pushing everything along. And I thought that was a really good. I don't know. I feel like a new fresh take because usually it's like a guy kind of holding a woman ransom in that aspect, and it was kind of. It wasn't necessarily ransom, but it was like it was good to see the opposite side. Like, a woman can be in control, can be the level-headed one in this type of chaos. And push like the plot in the movie, the plot.
I will also say that this generation is really fond of demasculizing black men. So I will say that while what you're saying is true, that it was great to see like a woman who was like taking charge and she had an idea, she had plans, etc. There also is some validity in the fact that demasculizing him, making him weak, making him the one that doesn't know what to do, making him the one that's taking her, like, you know, advice and, you know, listening to her and following her and doing what she says, basically fearful at all times, but still like listening to what she says. I think it kind of goes into what society has built up for men in film lately, which is the black man, we need to make him look less intimidating. The black man, we need to take away that part where the world is scared of him, and we need to show how vulnerable he is. The black man is weak. The black man is soft. The black man is scared. So I think that there were some other like aspects into making him be weak versus just making her be strong, right? Like, they had to really, again, Lena, magnify her strength so we can magnify his weakness. You know what I mean? So we can really, really see how scared he was.
I think it's a very interesting take too, because again, I know we talked about this before, but I do definitely see like how like it shows like a black man like not being a typical stereotypical like, you know, macho man, like super masculine. But to me, I don't necessarily see it as emasculating because again, I feel like there are those men in real life, and I feel like that's the problem. Like, sometimes we tend to like override them and then just see that, like I said before, like as weak or like as they're not a real man. But I feel like no, this is real life. Like, there are a lot of men who really don't know what they're doing, and their wife is literally pushing them along. Because I've seen it, and again, I can understand how that can be portrayed like as kind of like negative, because like again, in this like patriarchal society, a man is supposed to be the one that's leading and doing all the hard labor, but we know in real life that's not the truth. But that's just the way I see it. But I do understand I do really feel where you're coming from, because I'm always like, you can be like timid yet strong. You can be timid, but you can still be like a person that's like still very sure of themselves. You're just not like overpowering, you know. And I feel like sometimes with these characters, they're not just like timid. They're just like, they're actually like scared, or like not just being scared, but they're just like a wimp. Like, you can be scared and still be brave. Like, you know, you don't have to be scared of being wimp.
And he did have a little duality with that, because he did shoot the cop. So, like, at the end of the day, he might have been scared and not know what to do, and was going to call his parents and foil their plans. He did protect her, you know, but it also was protecting him. But he couldn't have done that for himself. So it was great to see him pop into man mode to protect her.
And even at the end, when they're talking and he goes to like scoop her up and like walk with her and like trying to I feel like he was
very Romeo and Juliet of him, because he could have survived and he could have went to prison, and it could have been the end of the story, you know. But for them to choose him doing such a dramatic set it off scene, which was great. It was great. I mean, he hit all the hits and fell. Okay, it was very dramatic. It was very good. But you know, there were a lot of options. But at the end of the day, like, his life was nothing before her. She gave him power. She gave him meaning. And the whole legacy thing, right? Like, she gave him legacy.
Well, I think that's the point, too, because black women do give you the legacy. Like,
what? One more time for the fellas in the back. Black women give you what?
Legacy.
Legacy.
If you know, like, in that, you know, heteronormative situation.
Correct.
You know, that it's the truth, though. Like, the woman is the one that produces whatever you give. You know, like, it multiplies whatever you give. Right. So, like, that's the whole point.
That's right.
You know. but I do think, I do think it was beautifully told. Again, even though it's so it is traumatic for me to see, especially because I feel like I hate aggression towards black women. Like, it really like hurts me, and like, I mean, I can never understand the pain of a black woman, but I just seeing it I don't know, it breaks my heart. So it's always like really hard for me to watch certain scenes in this movie. Obviously, even the first time when she gets shot in the leg, I'm like, oh my, like it's
first
jarring.
3 minutes if you have your whole stomach.
You're like, I can't
going on in this movie.
But it just shows how easy it is to brutalize a black woman's body. You know, black bodies in general, but like how black women suffer so much at the hands of like men, and then also white men or white people in general, white women. You know, so that's something I
white women, right? Like a white woman that was like supposed to look out for them, but she looked the whole time like she was ready to snitch.
Exactly.
Yeah, she did. At least she held up. But then there's like that duality of the person who actually did fold, which is the black person. Yeah. Like, it's always your people. It's always that, you know, bottom of the barrel. That bottom of the barrel crab mindset that keeps niggas on the bottom of the barrel. But it was exactly that. He flipped on them. He had no loyalty to them. Even the white people who didn't owe them nothing was like standing solid as a rock. And here goes this nigga that's supposed to really have their back. Here, take that, sis. Come on, sis. Whatever. That really sold them out. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that to me was a hard pill to swallow, because that was very metaphoric of what happens in our society, in our culture as black people in America.
Well, I know they always said Harriet Tubman. I don't know how true it is, but they always said Harriet Tubman had a gun, and she said it was never for other people. It was for people who
trying to go back,
try to turn their back or go back. You know, and I mean, it's true. It's like, there's nothing worse than a traitor.
Yeah.
You know, like, at the end of the day, I know everybody has their reasons. Everybody has, like, you know, their excuses, but it's like there's really no excuse.
Yeah.
At all.
You let down your clan. You're out of here.
It's always like that decision, like, you know, when people get tortured, like, you know they're gonna kill you anyway. So I know it pains you that you have to go through this torture, but they're going to kill you. Yeah. So
don't give up the secrets. Don't give up the squad. You know, like, we're gonna make it just because you didn't. Sorry, I'm sorry. Should have been better.
But just know the Lord's on your side.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Yeah, it depends on how you get through the torture. No, but in general, like, and again, it wasn't even torture. It's just, you know, the financial gain. You know, the sense that I could be better.
But you know what? One thing that I really did enjoy about this film was them. First off, Lena Waithe, right? I'm a huge fan of Lena Waithe. I'm a fan of her shots. She's so creative. There was a scene while we're in the back of the pickup truck, and we're just seeing them in the car, and you feel like the way that the camera's rocking with the car, you really feel like you're in the back of the pickup truck and you're going with them. You're like, damn, what we about to do? Like, we about to get this food. Like, what we about to do? There's all these meaningful scenes that were shot so well. From the pickup truck scene to the scene where they're at the beach basically with the kid, and they have these super long shots where they have this conversation. And at first, when I first saw this movie in theaters, I was like, wow, that's so neat. They were having this conversation like with each other, but we were doing it in long shots. And then when we got close up on them, the conversation's happening, but nobody's mouth is moving. So they're like giving us the words of the conversation, but giving us a different timing, you know, which really kind of goes into the inside thoughts of like the black person. Like, well, how do you know? Like, what is going to be your legacy? Like, how are you going to be memorialized? Like, there's all these deep questions that they're asking each other, but their mouths aren't moving, but they're looking at each other, you know, and you're seeing these scenes where they're just being black and just basically kind of innocent in a way. They don't know what's going to happen next, and they were just trying to protect themselves, and they're trying to figure this whole life thing out. And this kid has all these questions, which he's right to have, right? Why do you have to do this? Why did that cop shoot you? Why did this? You know what I'm saying? And there's like this deep moment within these long shots. So have to give it to Lena Waithe again because the way that she tells these stories is the way that real life looks to me. You know what I mean? Like, when you have those deep conversations, you're out at a beautiful place, and the world is big in those moments. And in those scenes, the world feels big in those moments. You know, like, it doesn't feel so, compact where you're just in the car with two people and they're talking about what they're going to do next.
Because you're going back and forth to that
yeah. It gives you the space to really see them for who they are, which are just people trying to survive. Yeah.
Literally, and it's funny that you said that because, like, there were so many beautiful scenes in this movie, and the way it was lit was really beautiful too. But also, I wanted to talk about the style because I know their clothes at the end are based off of like the pimp and his it's just how stylish everybody was. Exactly, like it was just how stylish they were, and then also being like I think it was a Cadillac, the turquoise Cadillac, at the end.
Okay.
That they were driving in. I don't know. It's just something about like. How literally they're going out, but they're still kind of going out in style. If that makes sense. Like black is always in style. It's kind of what I was getting from just the fashion throughout the entire movie.
We make everything look cool.
Yes, even on the run.
She was wearing like a leopard dress with like zebra boots. Yeah. Like, come on, but she's still fly.
Yeah.
You know that haircut. She had to cut off all her braids, but had a fly haircut. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dan Flew got a fresh fade.
Yeah, but it's gonna swim towards the end. I said, how they swimming.
Not with that shag he started out with and that mysterious mustache.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, they really did transform them into just a swaggy little couple. Black people do just have the seats to do whatever we want and make it look good. And mind you, those were the outfits they put on while they were jumping out of a window and stuff. Like, they were trying to escape. Like, they really came out swaggy. But I enjoyed that because one thing that we don't see or realize is like his outfit, his jumpsuit is burgundy and white, and her dress is just the cheetah print, which is like brown and black. But when she gets murdered, her blood covers the dress and it's burgundy. So when we see the final shot of them laying on each other, her outfit completely blends with his outfit. Like they are like matching and like one.
Oh snap! Yeah.
So pretty. So like, oh wow, you guys thought of that. But like, yeah, love that. And yeah, I love the sex scene too. I think I said that, but yeah, I think that scene is like important. It's again black love.
It's pretty. I mean, it was as you could say a tad bit risque, but I felt like it was very tasteful in a sense. Like granted, because it kind of reminds me of like Jason Lyric, how I was saying earlier about like it's a lot of nudity, but it's more romantic and passionate. Yeah. So it's not necessarily like
porn.
Pornography.
I guess corn is the word you're supposed to say on YouTube. Corn. Bleep.
Is that what?
Bleep.
Bleep it out.
Corn. So yeah, enjoyed this film immensely.
Absolutely, I think it should be watched every Black History Month.
And yeah, like long story short, like this is definitely a film that made me feel like Black history, all the way up to from the top to the bottom. I was like, look at us being black. Look at us escaping crime. Look at us being wrongfully
convicted.
Essentially, like that movie also went to exclamate the fact that we are not given the due justice that's necessary because they were perceived to have weapons, because they were perceived as a threat. Because of what happened, even though it was caught on camera and they were able to see how he shot her first, and then they only shot back in self-defense. Even with all of that evidence, even with all of that news and it being everywhere, they were still gunned down first, questions later. Yeah. And that was very symbolic of like, the American justice system. It's like, okay, well they were black, so we can kill them first.
Yeah. It's innocent, it's guilty until proven innocent, as opposed to it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
Not to mention that they enunciated throughout the movie that the cop that tried to shoot him already had a case for shooting somebody 2 years prior, killing somebody 2 years prior.
But apparently that never matters in these cases, though.
That doesn't get you off the force. I'm just trying to figure that part out.
I'm stressed.
But yeah, long story short, I think this movie 10 out of 10. Black History Month. Go watch this black ass film. And support Jodie Turner, even though she was married to a white man and now she's not. Go support our girl. That doesn't matter,
Absolutely.
So I'm sure Daniel Kaluuya had his fair share of white girls. I mean, Get Out was based on something.
They're both British, so I'm not gonna say anything, but yeah. You know how I feel.
And shout out to Melina Matsoukas for making such a beautiful film because her vision, her sight, the way that she sees just like different shots, the way that she sees nature, the way that she sees our skin in different lighting.
Yeah, she captures a journey. I feel like she encapsulates everything so well.
She's amazing. And then Lena Waithe with her storytelling. Like, okay, we get it, Lena. You know how to write. Like, relationships are important to you. And you like to play with the lines of the extremes, which I also enjoy. So, yeah, definitely check this film out. Queen and Slim. It's streaming right now on Netflix.
Everybody got Netflix.
Basically, or somebody's Netflix that you can use. So you make sure you check this one out. Even though it's 6 years old, if you haven't seen it yet, go see it on Netflix. And if you have already seen it, watch it again. Y'all help these black people get their money up. We know how that works. Anyways, Cameron, anything else you want to add to this movie?
No, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, and 10 million is how much it would be for me to flip. Okay, thanks again for watching the Black Cinema Experience podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Bye.